Hi, I'm Margot Weijnen, and I'm based at the Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands as a professor of Process and Energy Systems Engineering in the Faculty of Technology, Policy and Management. I was originally educated as a chemical engineer, chemical process systems engineer, and you know how it goes. After my graduation as a PhD, I worked with Shell for a while and then started back again at Delft University of Technology, directing an interfaculty institute for clean technology. And that's how at least I started to drift into the policy domain. Because at the time we got a lot of research assignments from the Ministry of the Environment, and then I think I was sensitized about how innovation and policy development are related, how much the physical systems and the policy domain interact. I drifted into energy policy and started getting interested in infrastructure questions. The paradox between the enormous stability of these systems on the one side, their seeming rigidity, and on the other side, the amazing capacity that they have to respond to enormous changes in demand at very short time constants. The fluctuations that we have every day, every hour, and the challenge of how to adapt them to changing demands over a longer time span, given all the uncertainties that we are facing. The enormous numbers of peoples and catering even for their basic needs, creating inclusive development for all parts of the world. That is going to be a big challenge without completely destroying our natural environment, which is in fact the environment that nourishes the human population, both with its mineral resources as with its living resources. And at the moment, of course, being involved in energy infrastructure and in energy sector policy issues, I'm fully aware of all the work going on climate change. But as Graham Harris just pointed out, there are a lot of questions about our climate change models. Do we have the predictions right? And even if we do believe the predictions, you know, there is. I'm certainly not questioning them. But then, what are the consequences of climate change? And there are far deeper uncertainties than there are in any climate change research model. So we have very little knowledge of how ecosystems have the capacity or do not have the capacity to adapt to climate change, how separate species do react to these climate change phenomena, and what ultimate consequences are going to be. But what I do see, that with the number of people increasing on Earth, how fast it goes, and how quickly we deplete resources, that habitat destruction is a far more imminent problem than climate change is. If we are really serious about conserving some of the diversity that can be found in nature, and it also creates the resilience of ecosystems that we are going to need for the future. I think this symposium is yet another very important step in creating more dialogue between the still, I think, fairly rare researchers that have the audacity to work on these issues, and that are not frightened enough to stay away from these dauntingly complex system problems. We need so many different disciplinary perspectives to get better answers than we have. I don't say to get it right, because there is no clear right here. I just said in my presentations, when it comes to infrastructure systems, the notion of optimality is probably useless. What matters if do the systems work properly? Are they good enough? And will they also be good enough tomorrow and the day after tomorrow in the longer term future? But it is so encouraging to know that you have colleagues around the world who do not shy away from these problems, who are willing to engage in dialogue. I do firmly believe that we need to bring all our knowledge from across the globe to the table, that we need to share our models, our analyses, our simulations. I see that a lot of the work that we started on agent-based modeling and serious gaming, because that is what we are needing. We need non-orthodox approaches to acquire a better understanding of the systems that we are working on. That others are picking this up, bringing it further, and that is how we can accelerate a worldwide learning process. And I think that is what excites me enormously about the expanding community of people working on next generation infrastructure across the globe. So far we have worked with SMART through visits to and fro, to inviting researchers. We did invite Pascal Perez to give a talk at Delft University of Technology. I think in general we would like to work on more and more intensive exchange of our researchers at all levels. Master students, PhD students, senior researchers as well, because I think this exchange of people, this exchange of the direct exchange of ideas and concepts is what works best, what is most effective. But of course, another way of working together is to prolong or to maintain this series of next generation infrastructure symposia built on the success of previous efforts, organize more workshops in parallel with that. Such as, for instance, the workshop we had in Sydney with the strategic decision makers. Because infrastructure solutions cannot be so easily transferred from one country, from one culture to another, it is important that we learn wisely from such events, and that we do tailor-make these events for different settings in different countries. But at the same time, by making these events international as well, we will again accelerate a learning process.